Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Megan and I am currently in Da Nang, Vietnam. In today's video, I'll be giving an update on the coronavirus situation here in Vietnam, as well as an update on my plans regarding returning home to Canada. Vietnam reported 16 cases of coronavirus back in February before having a 3-week run without any new cases. In the last week, we've had several dozen new cases come in, which were tracked back to a flight that originated from London and landed in Hanoi. In response to these new cases, the Vietnamese government took fast and major measures in an effort to contain the spread. If anything you hear from me conflicts with information that you are receiving from the CDC or the WHO, please listen to those instead. I am not a healthcare professional. I'm just giving you the information that I know to the best of my ability. The most significant announcement is that the Vietnamese government will stop issuing visas for all foreigners, regardless of your nationality, starting March 15th, continuing on to April 15th. My understanding is that even if you have already applied online and had approval for a visa on arrival, you will still not be able to board your flight and you will not be able to receive this visa. As of today, there are also new restrictions on visa extensions for visa holders that are currently in the country on a 3-month visa. Normally, you can come here on a 1-month or a 3-month and then extend for an additional month or an additional 3 months. At this time, my understanding is that you cannot extend for 3 months, and you do have the option to extend for 1 month, but it seems to be up in the air and at a higher price than what you would normally pay. This is a major concern for many of the foreign friends that I have that are currently in Vietnam who were expecting to stay here for another 3 months. Many Southeast Asian countries are following the same strategy and closing their borders. These closures are likely to continue over the next month, so friends are in the dilemma of whether or not they extend here for 1 month and then take their chances, although it's going to be more limited as to where they can go next. Wearing a mask has also become mandatory for all foreigners and all locals in public places. I don't know if wearing a mask is being actively enforced, but for myself personally, I will wear a mask, and I also hope that other foreigners will as well. Not wearing a mask may be sending the message that you are either ignorant or that you don't care to contribute to containing the spread of the virus within this country. So please consider wearing a mask even if you don't think it's doing any good. It's going to help at least with perception and not antagonizing the locals here any further. Another change, which is similar to most countries around the world, is that major events are canceled. Most recently, the Formula One race in Vietnam has been canceled. Local events and entertainment establishments like karaoke bars, gyms, large shopping centers, movie theaters, as well as all massage businesses have been asked to close their doors, and the government will reassess whether or not they will reopen at the end of the month. People are certainly not out and about, but there are no lockdowns and most shops and restaurants in the city remain open. Many have shortened hours or are offering delivery services only. There are additionally temperature check zones that are set up for land entry into Da Nang, as well as temperature checks happening for those entering larger restaurants or larger stores that do remain open at this time. In addition to having a large support network of foreigners here in Da Nang, I am also part of many online communities that involve foreigners, expats, travelers, online English teachers, and so on living in Vietnam. The general consensus that I am getting from these groups is that foreigners right now are not very welcome in the country. This makes sense to me considering that the cases that have come are being imported by us foreigners. Travelers in Vietnam are reporting being denied entrance once they arrive at hotels, even if they have booked them far in advance and had it approved on sites like booking.com. It appears to be very similar to the racism and discrimination that was initially seen against Chinese people in the earlier stages of this outbreak. This is rooted in fear, and I'm not saying it's okay, but I do understand where it is coming from. In addition to being denied entry into certain places, there are quite a few cases of foreigners being verbally assaulted. I have not heard of anything physical that has happened yet, but generally being yelled at, insulted, asked to get out of the country, and even being spat at. I have personally not experienced any of this. However, I have seen signs put up at hair salons and several restaurants in this city that do say no foreigners. I have also had locals cover their mouths as I walk past. There have been less than 60 reported cases of coronavirus in Vietnam over the last 3 months, and with these new restrictions in place, I'm quite confident that the government will be able to contain the spread of the virus locally. Next, I'll be moving on to developments coming out of Canada and how I personally plan to handle the situation and whether or not I will be staying here in Vietnam. The Canadian government recently announced that Canada will be closing borders to most foreign travelers.
We will be denying entry to Canada to people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents.
International flights are going to be funneled through 4 of Canada's major airports, which are Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal, and Toronto. Canadians that are currently abroad are being urged to come home now before it becomes more difficult to travel into Canada.
Canadian travelers should return to Canada via commercial means while it is still possible to do so. Let me be clear. If you're abroad, it's time for you to come home.
Once foreign travelers arrive back in Canada, whether they are citizens or foreigners, they will need to self-isolate for a minimum of 14 days. My home, Ontario, is currently considered the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak in Canada. Schools and many businesses are closed, events are cancelled, there is panic, stockpiling, and people are being advised to stay in their homes. The situation in Canada is currently the worst that it has been and is only expected to worsen over the upcoming weeks.
All Canadians, as much as possible, should stay home.
The last thing that I want to do right now is get on a plane and spend the next 30 hours minimal traveling from Vietnam to Canada through multiple airports. If I don't catch the virus or some other bug while I'm in the airplane, in the air, I would be shocked if I didn't catch something while I was in one of the airports. The reports that I'm seeing online and on the news are that there were many people in large crowds all crammed together waiting hours for coronavirus testing and then to be transported to their next flight. I'm healthy, I'm strong, and even if I caught the virus, it likely would be a mild case. However, I would be bringing that case back with me to Canada. Once I arrive in Canada, I actually don't have access to my apartment until May 1st, which means I would need to book a hotel and then self-quarantine for 14 days because there is no way that I am requesting to stay at the home of a family member or a friend right now where I could possibly expose them to the virus or whatever bug I pick up on my way home. I've lived in Da Nang for the past 3 winters, and over the years I've built strong connections both with locals and foreigners here in the city. I'm welcome to stay in the apartment that I'm currently in as long as needed, and my visa allows me to stay in the country for the next 2.5 months. And I will continue to work with no change online from Vietnam. In addition, I have a bag packed in case I were to be unexpectedly quarantined. This bag has things like food, water, as well as a phone charger. I have additionally stocked up with a week's worth of canned, non-perishable, and frozen food should we be confined to our apartments. I have plenty of water available, as well as a pot and a kettle to boil tap water if it came down to it. I absolutely have fears about staying here as a foreigner, and I'm being incredibly vigilant with an anticipation of a potential rise in crime, as everyone else should be around the world as well. These are tough economic times, and I don't know how that will impact local life here or in other places around the world. As of right now, I am choosing to not spend a minimum of 30 hours traveling across the world right now when things are the worst that they have been. I am hoping things will improve in several months and I am able to take this trip safely, but there is no guarantee. The coronavirus may be controlled as temperatures heat up in Canada and the US, or they may not. This could only be the tip of the iceberg, and in 2 months from now, the whole world could be like Italy, on a lockdown with greater travel restrictions and greater consequences for being outside of Canada. So in summary, I am still in Da Nang and I am prepared to spend several months in Da Nang if it comes down to that. I've been getting dozens of messages with recommendations on what I should and what I should not do. And while I know the majority of these are coming from a place of trying to be helpful, please stop. I like to act like I have it all together, but it was in trying to film the run-through of this video that the stress and anxiety and fear that I've been pushing down for the last week completely came out, and I had a full-on breakdown at that point. Understand that I am not taking this situation lightly, and I know that all of us are scared and all of us are stressed, and that we are all doing the best we can do with our situation and the information that we have available to us at this time. Please understand that I am safe, I am happy, I am not stuck, and I have plenty of local support here on the ground in Vietnam, as well as support from family and friends abroad, and I ask that for the time being you please respect my decision. Again, this is a flexible decision, and it will change as new developments happen over the next few hours and over the next few days and over the next few weeks. I would love if you would share where in the world that you currently are and what the situation is like on the ground there. Are people stockpiling? Is it business as usual? Is it full-blown panic? It'd be great to know what is actually happening on the ground where you are without the bias of the media trying to sell headlines. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful or informative, I hope you will subscribe for future updates as well as give it a thumbs up below. In the meantime, I hope to catch you down in the comments section. Thanks again, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon. Bye. And as a side note, if you're currently stockpiling TP, don't worry, there's another way, and we can all just adopt the Asian method. And also, if you haven't heard the coronavirus wash your hands song out of Vietnam, I'll link it below.